Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Ye, founder of Thrive by Design, our masterclass program to empower design professionals and creative change agents to thrive in their career. Anyone who is pioneering, whose expertise is far beyond what the business world even understands, you need to know how to own your path in your career. So, first, I just wanted to say thank you so much. There's some great comments and questions that people have been sharing. Um, I don't know, I just wanted to know. I'm kind of speaking out here and not necessarily, we don't always get feedback on these comments and wanting to know if this is valuable to you. So, it's important for me to know. So, do share with me, what we talk about. Is this relevant to you? Does this even hit home for you? Um, you know, what I want to talk about is and I've literally, in my work here as a career strategist, as a career coach to creative professionals, as a recruiter, um, more than 20 years of doing this, I've had literally hundreds and thousands upon thousands of conversations with design professionals, creative change agents. Um, and and by the way, creative change agents, people have asked me about that. If you are progressing in your career in such a way that you're pioneering, you have your own unique abilities far beyond what your customers understand your capabilities to be. If they don't understand your expertise, you're you're so progressive. There is no box that they can put you in. And in fact, so many of you say to me, HR says to me, I don't know what box to put me. I don't know what box to put you in. So I don't know how to consider you for opportunities. What a crazy problem to have when you're so incredibly gifted and multidisciplinary and talented. And yet that is what you want to own. And time again, when we hear these stories from you, so many of you are literally bringing outsized impact and delivering outsized results to the clients that you deal with, the employers or the clients that you're working with, literally bringing millions. When we actually looked at the shift that you bring to the table, we're talking millions of dollars of impact. In some cases, billions of dollars of the residual effect of what you do. And I think it's just the inequity of what creative professionals today, design professionals, creative change agents, the impact that you deliver. Uh, there's got this has got to you've got to equalize it. It's got to come back to this industry because the world needs your expertise, but you want to know how to own it so that that value comes back to your career. And this is the seminal work that we're doing today. So I wanted to talk about some things and really start to unpack this more. Last week, I didn't have much time to dig into this as much. So I want to touch on these topics even deeper. You know, design today, we've got to call it out. Design is one of the most competitive, most attractive, and competitive industries to be in, to sustain a career in, let alone continually advance your career. And for some people, is it time to even leave this industry at some point? Um, there are so many people that I've ended up talking to that I've kind of met too late, where they've risen to a certain point, but then something happened, a variety of different things that usually happens at the same time. I've seen someone rise to one of the top management consulting firms, rose so high, well known in the industry, and however those experiences turned out. This person I know, and I've heard so many stories like this, left the strategy space, left to go support his wife's startup. A fraction of what this person's capable of, but so burnt out. I know a woman who got to design manager and beyond, a couple of roles at that level, and couldn't find her way, the next rung and the next grab hold in this industry. And now a teacher, just completely jettisoned to find another career as a high school teacher. Um, and here's the thing, I get that sometimes today, so many of you have to pivot, but can you at least retain some of that legacy and that incredible body of knowledge that you've built, and be able to bound from it rather than come all the way down? When I see people pivot, so many of you, when you pivot from one world to another, most people have to take a drop and start all over again. And the goal is, can you even do a lateral move, at least? And what we teach people is how to analyze. If you've got to make that pivot, how do you analyze and qualify these pivots so that not only are you able to make those pivots at a lateral, but even an increase? And we just did that. And I have to say that in our Thriver session this week, we just had it, and it was so amazing to hear one of our Thrivers come in, and she had just won her next ideal role, and opened up a new pivot for herself. So really qualifying the jump before she just made those jumps, because I've seen people also pivot and take years to be in that new space and then realize it's not necessarily where they've wanted to be. I've seen people go into nonprofit because that's what they wanted, or eco and environmental, and then realize that that wasn't where they wanted to be. So, the design is a really challenging industry to be in. More challenging than any other space. If you were in law, medicine, an accountant, these are careers where you just move straight up the ladder, and it's a very linear path. But design is so challenging because each and every one of you're probably having to pivot layers on layers. And I know some people hate that term, but that is what you do in between every single job, in between every different client or initiative or project that you're working on. You are pivoting to curate a body of expertise, right? So there's a lot of layers of what you've got to think about, whether that next opportunity is going to give you the growth and learning that you need to cultivate and evolve your career. And a lot of people, I find, in the earlier parts of your career, most people will say to me, actually, this job was great. This client, this project was great. I learned a lot. I met a new team that I got to connect with, some great talented people to work with. I learned new skills, new software. I learned about a new industry. And then a lot of times they end up with, but I didn't seem to evolve my career. I didn't understand what to do, where this was going to take me. And while I learned more, it didn't really change where I was in my career. And there's a lot of people, I hear a lot of that story. If that's happened to you, I want you to think about all the different layers of what you've got to consider just on one factor of, do you go corporate? Do you go consultancy? Do you start your own practice? Are you moving up are you moving up straight up your industry? You're going to stay, let's say one of the most common ones that people ask is, do I stay as an industrial designer, or do I pivot to UX? And then I work with people in the space of UX, then they, how do I specialize in that space? Or if I'm in human factors, how do I evolve my career there? A lot of what we've come to specialize in doing is helping people make sense of all of those choices. And this kind of work is what you want to spend time in doing to understand where you are. And particularly, I think today's topic, I want to talk about those of you who are seasoned professionals. A lot of my work now is working with people who are 10 years, 15, 20, 25, 30 years in. And I think design has a very short shelf life. If with all the stories that I've heard, if you go on LinkedIn, when you get to that, when you're I think if you look at anyone's career path in LinkedIn, you'll notice for quite a few people, if you're in any one of those careers of medicine, law, accounting, for instance, or sales, accountant, product management. You can evolve in those careers for quite some time into your retire in your 70s. But in the world of design, it's got a very short shelf life. That's the second challenge, is not only is it so popular that everybody's rushing into this industry, it's so competitive that it's got a very short shelf life. I see a lot of people that around your 30s and 40s, some people can start to feel this challenge, but particularly it gets harder in your 50s and 60s to really understand where are those next grab holds within this industry to sustain your career in this world. And there's a lot more that at that height, there's a lot more. Having worked as a recruiter in this space of design, I've seen the quandary that employers have. When you're at that leadership height, there's a lot more that employers there's a lot more requirements, a lot more at stake. The employer, the client, their expectations, their standards for you are layers and layers of magnitude of criteria. But not only external, your customer and the employer, the client, not only are their needs that much more heightened, the standards that they have of who they want to choose, they need to choose. How do they need to really decide which one of you will solve their problem? But also you. I think this is one of those things where I find a lot of creative professionals forget to listen to what do you need and what's right for you in your career. Is it title? Is it industry? Is it name brand? Is it job description, compensation? There's so much. And even outside of that, what's resonating with you? And I'm going to, this is like going to sound classic, right? With all the work that I do, it's often what people think is right for them next in their career. A lot of people come to me and they say, I know I want to go there. I know that that's what I want to, target. And I say, look, if you're going to do this work, can we just look at that target? Absolutely. But let's look at every possible scenario. This is the framework to help you understand every single choice and zero it down to the key, most viable ones that you're going to thrive on. So this is the work that we do. In more than 25 years as a recruiter, in my work and I myself have moved through this as a designer, design director, then becoming a career coach, having moved so many people, evolving their career, helping them sustain their career, and advancing themselves to get to that next level, doing the work that resonates with them. To me, there's so many layers of what you want to move through to really understand that. And these are just things that what I want to get at is, if you have done incredible work helping someone else out, think of all the clients that you've helped. Think about how they've tried hundreds of times over trying to solve that problem themselves, but they couldn't, could they? They couldn't do that work for themselves. Why couldn't they not? Why couldn't they do that themselves? And I think there's something beautiful to being human, that we cannot put our gifts on ourselves necessarily, but we can give it. So when you are helping your clients, they need your outside perspective to walk them through what they cannot see themselves. And then this is the work that I do. So many of you are incredibly gifted at what you do, but have you seen every possible career path pivot that's out there and understood why you choose which path, and how do you qualify each direction? How do you listen to what the world needs versus what you need? This is the work that I am really grateful and fortunate that I get to do, to help some of my clients move through this. And this year, it's amazing how quickly my clients have moved through this process, identified opportunities to win them and landed them. Shall not name the latest today. I wanted to just share with you a snippet of a conversation from today's session. Um, this person, within months of joining, and it was throughout the pandemic, had moved through in and out of jobs, had been laid off, great opportunities, and in fact, helped this person recognize how to qualify opportunity. And by the way, this is something even just at that moment when you're in the heat of the moment, I find a lot of professionals don't know how to temper their decision with realizing what's right for them, and help this person turn down a 400K opportunity that was not healthy for this person. It was toxic. If this person moved into that role again, it would have just been moving into the same pattern. And instead, 1 month later, lands the ideal opportunity that would allow this person to grow, at increasing compensation. The role was 220. She wasn't even asking for more, but the way she learned how to frame herself using the methods that we taught her, the company gave her 280, because they saw the value. I mean, this is how powerful and how seamless this method can be. And yet at the same time, opening up a new avenue where this person has been kind of put it on the shelf saying, oh, later I'm going to tap into that dream, my ultimate dream. And then she just opened it during this program, literally landing a new opportunity and at the same time opening up a direction, a path of passion that she's been wanting to move into simultaneously. So it's amazing. I'm sorry, JP Weiss. JP, what'd you say? Creativity in the companies that make products often struggle with the intersection of the two. They are two different disciplines. Absolutely. Absolutely. Creativity that, in fact, allows businesses to reimagine their business, to see their opportunities. These are abilities that businesses don't necessarily understand. These are abilities, and they're often very multidisciplinary combinations of abilities that business just doesn't understand. I don't know how many times so many of these chief innovation officers come back and say, HR doesn't know where to put me. You know, the initiatives that I'm unlocking, the opportunity, the markets, the revenue streams that I've just opened up for this corporation or that, you know, it's unbelievable. Yet HR doesn't know how to even look at me. You know, it's like the story of the chameleon. So it's crazy. But here's a little excerpt that I wanted to share for those of you that are listening. It's just I've gotten permission to share this section of the conversation. Some people wonder, like, is this worth my time? And is it worth the cost of what it takes to move through this? Can I ask you what you think to that, Evis?
I put no value on growth. For me, there's not enough that I can pay that will help improve my life and the quality of life that I want to live. And when I thought about investing the money for this course at a time when I was living off of savings, I felt that it was a minimal price to pay for me to figure out what to do with my life.
And by the way, this person had lots of choices, and it's lots of choices, but knowing how to make those, discern between those opportunities. Sometimes some of you aren't landing opportunities, not being seen. That's one stage of this process. And then when you get to the next level, when you know how to be seen, it's knowing how to distinguish which opportunity is really going to not just bring value to those companies, because usually employers and clients can, once you know how to tell that story, they know what they can gain from you. But how do you know which of these opportunities are really going to take your career to the next level and really allow you to thrive in executing that? Right. And I think a lot of professionals at that level, people forget. Here's something else. Is this just for the next step, or will this take you the rest of your career?
Oh, 100% the rest of my career. Absolutely. And, you know, I'm definitely considering.
So, So this person is now evaluating all different options, landed the new opportunity, landed at the same time opening up a new passion project that is going to be incredibly lucrative for her as well. So anyway, just wanted to share with you this process and what it takes to move through it. You know, networking, people have talked about networking. Yes, it's valuable, but if you don't know how to do it in such a way to connect to opportunity, if you don't know how to see opportunity once you've landed it, how to qualify it and understand what's right for you. I've seen a lot of people move through and, like this person, win and land opportunities where you don't really know if they're right for you a year or two in, and not knowing if it's going to really change your career and or could even hinder. And I've met too many people where, if you're a seasoned design professional, creative change agent, and you're leading at a height of leadership, chances are the initiatives that you have to work on are not going to be done in 2 weeks, 2 months, right? They might take a year. And how do you know before you go in and invest a year or two to really see these initiatives through, to really make an impact for these companies? Are these opportunities coming back and bringing you value? So I want you to think about these things and just realize, if you're not recognizing it, if you're not being able to make sense of that, then I welcome you to take a look at our Thrive by Design program. We're having people enroll today where someone is not being seen. Someone else is being seen, but has historically picked the wrong opportunities. And I love that literally in our program, people are learning how to qualify, identify and qualify opportunity and land them at the compensation that they deserve, thriving with the quality of life where they're living, enriched. And this is Thriving by Design. So I hope that this conversation has brought some thoughts for you to think about of where you are in your career. If you are struggling and you are needing to find that opportunity, join us today and let's walk you through this. Let's show you and teach you what it takes to thrive in this industry. All right. You can always check out our website, thrivebydesign.today. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.